Did you know that veins are different from arteries and that arteries are different from nerves? Did you also know that there's 4 chambers of the heart and that your pulse is associated with your heartbeat? In today's world, this is common knowledge, but it was once the controversies and topics debated by anatomists and physicians. The answers to these questions came when brave physicians took it upon themselves and their interest in human anatomy to dissect cadavers. The discoveries that they made shaped today's understanding of human anatomy as we know it. I am very interested in anatomy myself, and I loved dissections when I was in high school, and I even consider medical school as one career path for myself. Today, I'd like to inform you about the history and modern use of cadavers. First, let's take a look at how cadavers became a tool in the study of anatomy and early medicine. The history of cadavers starts out in 3rd century BC in ancient Greece and develops all the way to the Renaissance era of Europe. The first physicians to use cadavers to learn more about the human body are Phillips and Erostratus. Phillips and his contemporary Erostratus were Greek physicians in Alexandria, Egypt at the Greek School of Medicine. They are recognized as the first to perform systematic human dissection according to Bay & Bay 2010's research. Phillips and Erostratus performed dissection despite the beliefs of that time period. It had been believed that it was wrong to cut open the body because the body harbors a soul which remained inside the body after death, according to Bay & Bay. Phillips' dissection led to his discoveries, including proving that the pulse is associated with the heartbeat, realizing nerves convey impulses, and he even named the first part of the small intestine as duodenum, which is the name that we still use today. However, the use of cadavers disappeared for more than a millennium. After the death of Phillips and Erostratus, the use of cadavers seemingly eradicated itself for nearly 1,800 years. Gosh, in 2015, stated that this is largely due to the introduction of Christianity in Europe during the Middle Ages. During this time period, any form of human dissection on cadavers was considered blasphemous against the church and was dismissed and prohibited by the church, according to Gosh 2015. It wasn't until mid-15th century that the revival of cadavers came back with the renewed interest in the sciences during the Renaissance era. The revival of the cadavers, again, with human dissection, came back in the 15th and 16th centuries in Europe. Stated by Gosh in 2015, the ever-growing popularity of cadaveric human dissection attained enormous proportions in the 16th century and became a staple in teaching anatomy in the universities of Europe. These also gave rise to the anatomist and physician Andreas Vesalius, who's now considered the father of modern anatomy. Andrea Calino's Book of the Body, Andrea Vesalius, born in 1514 and died in 1564, performed many cadaveric human dissections in Pavia, Italy, and his observations led to the publication of his works known as the De Humani Corpori Fabric Libra Septem, or the 7 books of the fabric of the human body. He was noted as believing the only way one can learn about the human anatomy of the body was to dissect it with one's own hands. As stated by Carlino, Andrea, according to Vesalius, of course, only knowledge of anatomy gained by first-hand observation was useful to the good physician. With the renewed interest and the rising popularity of cadaver use, the demand began to outweigh the supply. Many anatomists, students, and professors resorted to unethical ways of acquiring their cadavers, such as grave robbing. Now that we've talked a little bit about the history of human cadavers and how anatomists and physicians came to use them, let's look at the modern day uses that they have. Cadavers are still used in modern medical schools today, and they are also used in public education. Despite technological advances in medicine and with the use of 3D printing and imaging, most medical schools still use cadaver dissection as a part of their teaching of the human anatomy. During the first year of medical school, prospective students performed dissection, and there was a study done by R in 2010 where to see the influence surgical demonstration had on cadavers, to see the influence surgical demonstration on cadavers had on medical students pursuing surgery. The conclusion was that surgical demonstration to first-year medical students can influence their perception favorably about surgeons and surgical career. This interaction provided them with information and motivation to pursue their medical careers in surgery. However, unlike the historical methods of acquiring cadavers, such as grave robbing, we now use body donations to science as our cadaver use. Cadaver use are still used in public education. Numerous museums and exhibits with cadavers on display hope to achieve more education to the public about the human anatomy and the diseases that they have on our bodies. According to the Body Worlds website of 2019, to the Museum Body Worlds, created by Dr. Gunther Van Hagen and Dr. Angela Whaley in 1995, has cadavers on display in America, Asia, Africa, and Europe. Cadavers on display at the Body Worlds exhibits undergo plastination, which according to the Webster Dictionary is a technique of biological tissue that involves replacing the water and fat in the tissue with a polymer such as silicone or polyester to produce a dry, durable specimen for anatomical study. Body World uses plastination of cadavers to display certain dissections or certain systems in the human body, according to Wikipedia 2019. The history of cadavers starts out in 3rd century BC and develops until the 16th and 15th centuries in Italy. And the modern uses include medical school and training and public education. Despite the fact that cadavers have a debate going on right now, and even if you don't consider going to medical school, I think it's important for all of us to learn a little bit more about ourselves. Thank you.